Ipswich Town are back at Portman Road, and kick-off against Swansea City is just moments away. We've full commentary on BBC Radio Suffolk, which comes courtesy of former Town captain Mick Mills and Brenna Woolley.
And after 4 successive away games, how nice it is to be back at Portman Road with Ipswich Town, hoping to enjoy some home comforts over the course of the next 8 days. The 3 fixtures here in that time, with 9 valuable championship points up for grabs against Swansea, Hull and Leicester themselves, all with plenty to play for. Starting, of course, with the Swansea side that's quietly sneaked into contention for a playoff place, and will no doubt still be smarting from their 4-1 defeat to Kieran McKenna's men back in November. As for Ipswich, after recent disappointments against Welsh opposition, they'll be desperate to build on Tuesday's much needed and well deserved victory at Watford. And this is such an important little period for your old club, isn't it, Mick? It's not exactly make or break, but you must understand why fans are demanding a healthy points return.
Yes, I think that, there's always mini exercises, if you like, during the course of the season, and this is one without question. We've had the difficulty of having to go away from home on a number of occasions. That's got its own difficulties, and now this one is like 3 home games in 8 days, and it's a really good one for players to really get their teeth into. It's an opportunity, it really is. There's no question about it. It's not going to be easy, but you've got to be looking in terms of maybe 7 being your minimum target, really. 9 would be marvellous. It would really set the whole season up. This is the first of 3. Always nice to get the first one under your belt. Possibly on paper, could this be the easier one of the 3? Yeah, you could say that. But Swansea are going to sort of try and make it difficult for us. And, really it's all about ourselves. We played, I think, on the majority of times at Watford, I thought we were pretty good. Certainly a good first half, and then we got through a difficult spell in the second half. So our form now is good. We can really take this one on and have a go at it, basically.
Just waiting for the teams to come out the tunnel. Off to our right-hand side for this 3 o'clock kick-off, live on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport, as every kick will be of Swansea, Hull, Leicester and so on. You'll have heard the bell ring in the background as the 2 sides do come out of the tunnel. Town will be back in blue, white, blue up against the all-white of Swansea. Well then, 3 changes from the side that won at Watford on Tuesday night. Greaves, Eggerley and Clark all dropped to the bench. Davis, Mehmeti and Burns all reinstated. Walton, who saved that penalty late on at Vicarage Road, is in goal. The back 4, it's the usual one really. Furlong, O'Shea the captain, Kipre and Davis. Matusiwa alongside Neil in midfield. Dan Neil making his first appearance at Portman Road in the blue of Ipswich. Then it's the 3 of Burns, Nunez and Mehmeti. Up front, Athon, although we did talk, Mick and myself, earlier on off air about the flexibility that Town can switch to a kind of a 3-4-2-1 system in various guises throughout this game. On the bench, Palmer, Hurst Taylor, Kiyuste Clark, Greaves, Akpom, Eggerley and McAteer. Swansea make 5 changes from their 1-1 draw with Preston in midweek. Algo, Ronald, Franco, Fulton, Walter and their top scorer Vipotnik. In come Yalkuye, Stamenic, who's back from a ban, Nunez, Vidal and Cullen. Vigaroo is their goalkeeper in all pink this afternoon. His back 4, that's unchanged from the week. That's Galbraith, Cabango, Burgess back at Portman Road and Timon. Then it's Yalkuye alongside Stamenic. Then a 3 of Nunez on loan from Brentford, Vidal and Yom. Cullen leads the line. On the bench, Fisher, Vipotnik, who's got 16 league goals this season, albeit only 4 away from home. Key, Ronald, the experienced Ward, Walter, Franco, Fulton and Samuels Smith. What do you make of the Ipswich Town team, Mick? I guess if Leif Davis was fit, he was always going to come back in, and most of us expected Wes Burns to be back in as well.
Yes, I think so. I think that we're pretty much, even Kieran is probably nearing to a very settled sort of mind as far as it comes to selection, though. So I think the back 4, this is our back 4. I think Jacob Greaves comes in when it's necessary for him to come in, and he does invariably do an excellent job. But I think this on paper is Kieran's favoured back 4. Then, of course, I think that the Neil, the signing from Sunderland, I think he was signed to actually go in the team. So I think that Kieran now has sort of bided his time to a certain extent in sort of getting him into the team, but you know, he's now in for me. He will be Matisua's partner whenever the occasion arises, and as long as he keeps form, of course. And then I thought Wes Burns changed the course of the game on Tuesday. I thought he did a wonderful job for his team, who were under the cosh when he came on. So he merits a place down the right-hand side. Interesting to have Nunes and Mehmeti in the same team, and I think this would be one of those days where Kieran twists it a little bit. When we defend, I think we defend with a 4-2-3-1. When we go into attack, I think you'll see Mehmeti stepping inside to make 2 10s, and you'll see Leif Davis going hell for leather down the left-hand side to be almost like an attacking player, and Darnell Furlong might just hesitate a little bit on this side to make sure we got enough defenders to counter-attack their counter-attack, if you like.
Play about to get underway at Portman Road. Anthony Backhouse is the referee. Did Town's 2-0 win at Coventry in December. The fourth official down between the two managers, Vitor Matos and Kieran McKenna, is Tom Reeves. Town, as I say, in blue, white, blue. They're going to be kicking off and defending the Sir Bobby Robson stand. So Town playing from left to right, as they tend to do in first halves in this first period, which is underway, up against the all-white by the goalkeeper in pink of Swansea. Town immediately on the front foot, wide left, Mehmeti trying to get the ball into the box. They've won a corner kick inside 9 seconds down that left-hand side, Ipswich Town. So an early threat to Swansea's goal.
That's a lovely start. Normally the ball goes out of play from those kick-offs, but this one has won us a corner kick. It was a good winning of the ball by Azon.
Corner kick to Ipswich Town. Marcelino Nunez to take it over in the far right corner. We've only played 34 seconds of this match. Town with a very early chance to break the deadlock, and it comes from Nunez. The flick on towards the far post, cleared away by Swansea, nodded back by Neil. Getting there just ahead of his man is Davis. He's bundled to the floor by Nunes of Swansea. Free kick, Ipswich.
There's a beautiful corner. You either go near post or you go far. That one was definitely aimed for the near post, so we're looking for a flick on and then somebody to come in behind to try and have a go at goal. The corner was good, the flick on was good, but we didn't really have anybody attacking the flick on.
There is Kiprit, that centre half for Ipswich Town. Goal scorer last weekend at Wrexham, and what a goal it was too. Goes square to O'Shea. Now it's Furlong near side. Terrible pass from Furlong straight at Yom, the South Korean, who's playing wide left for Swansea as expected. Here is Furlong once again, now on 9 yellow cards for the season, Darnell Furlong. So like Azor Matusiwa walking a disciplinary tightrope. Talking of Matusiwa, he just lost the ball on this left-hand side. Yom infield to Yalkuye, on loan from Brighton. Yalkuye, who was linked with Ipswich Town briefly last summer. Burgess, double promotion winner at Ipswich, gets the ball back to his goalkeeper. Now it's Burns, who knows him well, finds Walton. An early touch for the Ipswich Town goalkeeper, who sprung to make that excellent penalty save at the end on Tuesday night. Lovely spin from Neil on halfway, gets it to the left-hand side, and Mehmeti with his orange boots on, overlapping is Davis. He's laid it on a plate for Davis. Davis with a chance to cross low into the air. He doesn't come to Nunez, comes as far as Mehmeti! What a finish! That is some strike from Anis Mehmeti. He gets his first ever Ipswich Town goal at Portman Road, and what a fine finish! Rifled up into the top corner, and Town already leads Swansea after 2.5 minutes.
Absolute rocket, but you know, when will people realise what they've got to do against Town? When you see Leif Davis making that sort of run, you ignore the ball and take the runner and let somebody else step in and deal with the ball. Swansea. Leif Davis found space. Ball is just played into him. Great The box causes all sorts of trouble, and then the finish. Oh, wow, the finish is wonderful.
Superb finish from Mehmeti. Talked about Kipre scoring a week ago, so too, of course, Mehmeti did at Wrexham, scoring against Welsh opposition. And the dream start for Ipswich Town in this big 8 days. As the ball is now back with Cabango, the captain of Swansea. Centre half. There's a wrestle going on between and the number 20, Cullen. Cullen leading the line this afternoon for Swansea in the absence of Vopotnik. It's a throw-in that Furlong is going to be taken for Ipswich Town. Infield towards Mehmeti. Mehmeti helps it on its way to Davis. Swansea win it back now with Yom in the central area inside the Ipswich Town half. He shoots from a long, long way out, blocked off, then lost by Nunez. Yom wins it back well for the Swans. Nunez down the left for Swansea. In comes his cross to the Ipswich area, headed away by Kipre before Vidal could get on it. Nodded forward by Gilbraith. Controlled well by Cullen. Swansea reacting well to that early setback. Here is Burgess, the Australian, plays a ball into the box, but it's all the way through to Walton.
Yeah, it was a decent ball by Cameron Burgess there. All he can do, he sees the run from the wide left player. Head goes down to address the ball. Well, the wide left player stops, so you know that's totally bad. It makes the player look really poor on the ball.
Burgess never present for Swansea, of course, his debut season in South Wales. They're 15th in the table ahead of this one. Town currently 5th, or they were ahead of kick-off. Burgess with a poor header in field. Out comes Vigaroo, once of Liverpool. He clears the ball out this side. It was rather sliced though. It's a throw into Ipswich midway inside the Swansea half. 5 minutes gone. Mehmeti's got the only goal so far.
Well, we've been scoring early in a number of games at Portman Road, but never as early as that.
Seen some really good goals in that net off to our right-hand side this season. Some really important ones at that. And that was an important one. Athon, who got his first Ipswich Town goal against Swansea earlier on this season, is bundled to the floor by Burgess. Mr. Backhouse quickly on the scene, and then signals to the bench that Athon doesn't need treatment. It is a free kick to Ipswich, though, live on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport. And after this little run of games, by the time we get to full time against Leicester in a week's time, Town have only got 4 more Portman Road games this season. They really are getting to the business end. This is game 33. Town trying for their 17th win overall.
Very high line by Swansea. Very high space between that line and the keeper.
Down free kick 35 yards from goal, which they get back to Neil on the halfway line. First time dabs the ball to Kipre, gives it back to the on-loan Sunderland player. Where to O'Shea. Number 6, Neil. Kipre. Neil working in between the two centre-halves momentarily. Now with O'Shea. O'Shea along the deck to Burns. One touch infield, nicely off from Burns. Nunez infield for Ipswich. Poor pass, Galbraith picks it up, who's a talented footballer. Galbraith playing it right back, but drifts into midfield. He is actually a midfielder by trade. Once of Manchester United, Ethan Galbraith. Very easy on the ball. Nunez up towards Athon. Athon again grounded, this time by Cabango. Once more underneath the nose of the referee. Neil takes a quick free kick. Ipswich Town lead 1-0, and they're coming forward again with Mehmeti. Mehmeti with a right-footed ball into the area. Too much on it, out behind.
Yeah, nothing at all there really, you know. That's but you can see where we are sort of like pushing players into good forward areas. We're trying to sort of complicate the game, if you like, just to make it difficult for Swansea. We're a goal in front. We have free licence there. Look there, you know, we wouldn't have thought we would be seeing back three from the goalkeeper's kick, but it's there. Leif Davis sort of way up on the left-hand side with Mehmeti inside. So that's what Kieran McKenna is trying to sort of today.
Interesting that Yom's playing down the right for Swansea. Nunez off to the left for them. A slight tweak to what we expected. Here is O'Shea. I always knew where he was going to play for Ipswich. In this first half, it's off to our left-hand side. Kipre. Neil has the ball in midfield. Back it goes to O'Shea. He looks out to the right-hand side. Paul, the captain, really poor. Way too much on it. Out of play for it. Through to Swansea at left back, which referee wants him to back a couple of yards, Josh Tynan, before taking this. Swansea 1-0 behind. Anis Mehmeti with the goal. If you're joining us late, 8 minutes gone. Chest trap from Cullen finds Yalkuye. Now Galbraith on the far side, the number 30 along the deck to Yom, faced by Leif Davis. Bypasses him with a good ball to Galbraith. Mehmeti's got to get back and hold up Galbraith, which he's managed to do. Swansea still have it, but there are numerous blue shirts now back and in position behind the ball. In fact, all 10 of them, because Swansea eventually have the ball on halfway with Cameron Burgess, who gives it back to his partner Cabango, and they have been a fixture as a pair pretty much all season, whether it's been Alan Sheehan or Vitor Matos, as is now the case in charge. It's done very well since Matos took charge of Swansea. 9 of their 13 wins this season have come since the start of December. Matos has really made an impact.
Kind from Christian Walton out to him. There's nothing he could do. In the end, he throw in, so I'd be quite happy with that.
Give us a throw. That's a good crowd for this game. Nice ball from the goal scorer. Furlong over the halfway line. Off the outside of his right. The left back coming in field against Timon. Into the D, Mehmeti. Still Anis Mehmeti, crowded out by white shirts as you would expect. Gives the ball to Kipre. Kipre to Leif Davis. Davis hangs the ball up and for a goal kick to Vigouroux.
Yeah, it was a lovely ball for, through there. Then it seemed to set 3 players, goal side of their markers, if you like, and that sort of, you just felt that maybe Darnell Furlong should have stayed away from the scene a little bit and leave it to Wes Burns to develop the play.
Kind of won the last 3 metres. Swansea, ahead of that little run though, Swansea had something of a hold over Ipswich, and in fact Swansea have only lost 1 of their last 5 here, a couple of draws, couple of wins, and the last time we were here it was a 3-2 victory for Ipswich Town in the promotion season, as Davis has taken that final touch, can't let it go up behind, it would be a corner, clears down the far touchline to Mehmeti. Mehmeti gives it away, a little bit risky from the Albanian. Now Yalkuye to Cabango, a full Welsh international for a few seasons now. Ben Cabango, so knows all about Wes Burns. Nice play from Swansea. Galbraith, edge of the area, gets the ball into the box, flags up against Vidal. The ball's tucked into the net by Nunez, but no more than a couple of Swansea fans are celebrating because the flag had been up a good 5 or 6 seconds earlier.
Yeah, he delayed it just too long. The player there that did the striker who laid the ball to him, it was on. And then he waited and waited, and then it wasn't on because the poor lad had gone offside. So that was a very dangerous situation.
Very, very close. Goodness gracious me, that's one would have had a look at VAR probably for the next 5 or 6 minutes in the Premier League. It's very marginal. Still 1-0 Ipswich thanks to this man. Mehmeti on the ball on halfway. Vidal was on the ground and got enough boot on ball to take it away from the town attacker. Forward from Stamanic, the New Zealand international playing in midfield for Swansea. With their defensive shield in front of Cabango and Burgess. Talking of which, here is Cabango. He finds Cameron Burgess. 4 years at Ipswich Town, 127 appearances for the man on the ball, 5 goals in that time, Burgess. A couple of goals for them this season as well. Header. Up goes Cabango. They were halfway by Vidal. By Kipre, both sides. Able to get the ball down. Down for a throw to Josh Tynan. The visitors left back.
Swansea be pleased for the last 10 minutes because they've minimised a great start. Take the lead, if you're the opposition that just conceded, fear the worst so early in the game, but we haven't really sort of gone on to sort of create the chances that we would have thought.
Another corner inside 10 seconds, inside 10 seconds and scored inside 3 minutes. So far in this game, Nunez by the corner flag off to our right. Square ball into the area to Athon. Athon tries to play the blonde-haired Swede Vidal. The left back area, the Swansea box at the moment. Nunez falls back towards the corner flag by Burns, and he hits the ball off the knees of Burns, out for a throw to the visitors.
Yeah, good pressing. You know, this is still, you know, it's Swansea's ball, it's their throw-in, but it's a difficult scene to get yourselves out. It's very, very tight there.
Sliced out of play off the left boot of Timon. Ipswich through. That's already this weekend. Wins for Watford, Derby. A couple of teams pushing for top six. Norwich, who won 2-0 at Leicester at lunchtime, and Hull. Well, if you look at the stats, we're right under the cosh. It looks to have been all Portsmouth that game, but Hull won 1-0 at Fratton Park. It was a big win for Hull ahead of their trip here on Tuesday night. What a game that is in the race for automatic promotion. Furlong hurls the ball into the Swansea box off to our right. Tries the back, and loses the ball. And as far as Neil hits it on either side of him, and that would have been a home goal.
Yeah, I agree with you. Either side of the goalkeeper, and it could have beaten him. You know, that one was just too close to him. He had a great chance to actually steer it to a corner.
Back to Graham for goal news.
Coventry 1, Stoke 0. Sheffield United ahead at QPR. Oxford ahead at home to West Brom.
Do you wonder about Coventry? Well, I mean, they're already on a very good run. Beating the likes of Middlesbrough and Sheffield United recently. They've really kicked on of late. Frank Lampard's side. The ball is back with Burgess. His side trailing 1-0. Here is Vigouroux, beaten by Mehmeti early on. It goes back again to the Australian. Short to Timon. Timon down the line to Nunez. Back to Timon again, but Swansea unable to get going really. Now it's back with Walton. Walton closed down, almost lost the ball. Kicks it out near side. Got himself in 6s and 7s there, Christian Walton.
Yeah, he didn't fancy that one at all.
No, he didn't. There was a little bit of a panic at the end, but at least he got rid of it, rather than try and do anything too smart. Timon with a throw midway inside the Ipswich town half off to our left-hand side. Conditions for this game of football here this afternoon as Nunez towards Yom. Yom can't find Cullen. Intercepted by Furlong. Now Mehmeti in his defensive third. Gives it back to Davis. That was a bit risky. He realised that Cullen was between him and Walton, so in the end Town did very, very well. But for a moment it was heart and mouth stuff up here. Forward the ball comes from Furlong to Nunez on the right-hand side. Great feet from Nunez. Lovely play from him. And then he gives it back to Matusiwa. The home crowd enjoyed that. Matusiwa to Kipre. Town have worked it out beautifully to the left-hand side. Mehmeti. There is Neil, always with his head up, looking around as soon as he receives the ball. O'Shea to the right. The home crowd enjoying this. Burns tees up the cross. In it comes. Carried on by Mehmeti. Cleared up into the clouds by Galbraith. O'Shea should win this header. He does. And then so too does Timon on the edge of his box. Matusiwa's little header finds Neil. Neil wrestled to the floor by Vidal. Again, the referee right on the spot. Clear free kick for the shirt tug on Dan Neil.
Yeah, definite free kick. When Wes Burns put the ball in the box, that was nice to see 4 Town players in the box waiting for the cross. Maybe a little bit too much in a straight line, but at least we've got 4 people that have gone in there in search of a possible goal. Free kick is a decent position. Is it a shooting area? I don't think so. A little bit long.
Yeah, it probably is, isn't it? Nunez and Davis standing over. It's very central. There's no angle. The referee has just painted his white line. There's a one-man wall standing on it. Free kick. Round about 30 yards from goal. A bit further, actually. 34 yards, perhaps. Nunez over this long-range free kick for Ipswich Town. Plenty of players forward to his left-hand side. He's turned his neck and glanced towards them. Town lead 1-0 on BBC Radio Suffolk. Kieran McKenna doing some pointing and talking. It's Nunez dinks this free kick into the Swansea area, headed away by Burgess to Yal Kuye, who'll keep it in near side. Goes off of Neil, out of play for a throw to Swansea.
Yeah, I think we had a whole ruck of players to Nunez's left-hand side, but nothing on this side for those players to head the ball to anyway.
Cabango belts the ball up into the sky. O'Shea wins a header just inside his half. Shove in the back of Wes Burns. by Timon. Free kick taken quickly by Matusiwa. Kipre along the floor to Mehmeti, tight to that far touchline. He's got the only goal so far, Anas Mehmeti. Matusiwa back to O'Shea. O'Shea's pass is straight at Yom. Number 10 takes it on his chest and finds Vidal. Davis. Mehmeti, lovely spin far side. Vidal gets involved. Mehmeti loses the ball. Galbraith drops his shoulder, tries to get away from Mehmeti. Runs down that far touchline, plays the ball in field. Nicely controlled by Yom, but eventually he loses it. And O'Shea brings Walton into play with 19 minutes or thereabouts on the clock. Quite quiet at Portman Road just now. It certainly wasn't after 3 minutes when the goal went in. Kipre, that's a fabulous ball forward. The flag has stayed down. Davis inside the area, tries to pull it back to Nunez. Cleared away by Timon, who'd come in from left back to be an extra centre half. Good break from Town again.
Yeah, it was a good ball, but I'm watching the man that's with Leif Davis, and he's trying to sort of be clever. He's trying to say, he'll never get the ball past me. He should just think about the runner. Not the ball, the pass, the runner.
Had a play for a throw on the far side, which Davis is going to be taken for the home team. Athon, clever little head down to Mehmeti. Mehmeti gives it to Nunez. Just runs away from, can't shoot at the moment, edge of the area. Nunez finds Burns on the right, having a run at Timon, gets to the byline, tries to skim in his cross, come off Timon. Out of play on this right-hand side for an Ipswich Town corner kick, their second of the game. It's Davis, who's ambling across to swing it in left-footed. 1-0 Town lead. 20 minutes gone on BBC Radio Suffolk. Swansea manager Vito Massos in conversation with McKenna. Just to his right as we look down on the second corner for Ipswich. Yeah, to say hello to me, it was awful. First time he knocked into the middle. It's a really good ball headed away by Burgess, fully cleared by Nunez. And I just see what he gives it to Mill to Mehmeti. Goes back towards Bolton. It's been a good signing. Anas Mehmeti. Town didn't do much business in January, but both players they brought in starting this game are both very good as well. Cabango clears away from Mehmeti. After it goes Yom. Out of play off Davis through to the Swans.
Yeah, I think we've got control of the game. You know, we've taken a nice early lead. That settles everybody down in the stadium, you know, and now it's just up to us. At the moment, Swansea are not really carrying a threat towards our goal. But we've now just got to create the odd chance or two, just to sort of see if we can extend this lead.
Yom, his layoff for Vidal, misses him far side. That's another throw for Ipswich Town. Swansea's 8th season back at this level after 7, of course, in the Premier League. Won the League Cup 13 years ago now. A very successful period in the top flight. I think the likes of Roberto Martinez, Brendan Rodgers, Michael Laudrup. They've had some big names in charge at their place. Neil to Nunez. Nunez brings the ball down for Burns. Timon sticks to it. Burns goes back via O'Shea to Kipre. And again Kipre walks to the halfway line before distributing the ball out to the far side. And Davis. Poor ball in field from Davis. Straight to Vidal. Vidal to Cullum. They play a 1-2. Vidal goes down, tripped by Neil. Wasn't going to come to anything, that move for Swansea. Never fully had the ball under control, Vidal. So that's a bit of a bonus, the Whites still have it. Cabango stumbles on the ball, gives it to Galbraith. Vidal, the number 7, he's busy. Down the line to Yom. Yom back in field to Vidal. There's a challenge of Mehmeti in front of the Cobbold stand, and it's another throw to Swansea City. Only 4 away wins this season, and 3 of them have come against teams in the bottom 5. Our biggest success on the road was at Watford, as Cabango almost allows the ball to go out for a cheap corner kick, gets it to Vigouroux. Vigouroux passes it out to Timon, just about got away with that one, did Swansea. Here is Burgess from left back, hitting it up towards Cullen. 1-0 by Kipre. Kipre to Neil. Matusiwa tries to get it back to Neil. Cullen on the stretch goes down, appeals to the referee for a shirt tugged by Matusiwa. Kipre between the lines to Nunez. Nunez controls it, tries to put it in behind for Athon, but it's through to Vigouroux.
Yeah, it's a nice ball from Kipre to find Nunez, and then Nunez is a little bit, just gets caught in possession. He's got to just deal with the ball a little bit more quickly and make his mind up.
23.5 minutes gone on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport. Every kick of every Ipswich Town game. So we've got a match night on air from Tuesday from 7 when Hull come here. Another team that Town are trying to double this season, and it's Leicester here next week. They lost to Norwich at lunchtime. They're in a perilous position, the Foxes. Wide on the right, Yom for Swansea, looking for an equaliser. He's in line with the edge of the Ipswich area. Tripped by Mehmeti. Good chance for a free kick ball into the Town box now for the visitors.
Yeah, it looked a bit of a tame one, but the linesman's very, very close. He immediately put his flag up for a free kick, so it's a good position. Swansea haven't been in these positions many times, so they'll be pleased to get this one.
Well, Burgess and Cabango will certainly be a threat up from the back. Stamanic is there as well, the number 6. Free kick to Swansea. Wide right, in line with the edge of the Ipswich Town 18-yard area. It's Yom who's going to be taking it in the 25th minute. Town have led for the last 22, thanks to a goal from Anis Mehmeti. This is a chance for Swansea. Been a short supply so far. Pulled back by Yom to Galbraith. Galbraith has a dig, but it's always rising off his left boot. Didn't trouble Walton whatsoever.
I think if you're one of those lads that have come all the way up from the back, to sort of add their height to a cross, and the player does that type of thing, I think you would be a bit disappointed.
O'Shea passes the ball up towards the halfway line of Mehmeti. Mehmeti with a flick on, looking for Athon. Out comes Vigouroux, tells Burgess that he's taken charge of the situation, and left-footed launches the ball long. O'Shea wins a header. Nunez beaten by Stamanic. Now O'Shea turns and gets his header back to Christian Walton.
Yeah, we continue to sort of take charge of the game. We're stopping Swansea from really sort of building any sort of attack deep into our half.
Mehmeti trying to get away from Cabango, runs into him, free kick. 3 clean sheets in the last 5 heading into this. They've been defensively fairly sound of late. Swansea, no clean sheet though this afternoon. Let's go back to Graham. It's 1-0 Ipswich.
Southampton ahead at Sheffield Wednesday. Oxford 2, West Brom 0.
Goodness gracious me, you do wonder if Leicester or West Brom are going to go this year. Both having shocking seasons, yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
No, not both. One of them, West Brom, I think.
Yeah, I think they're probably the favourite one, but I do think Oxford will ultimately go, but they're doing very well. Pleased for Matt Bloomfield this afternoon anyway. And Southampton on a good roll, but you would expect them to beat relegated Sheffield Wednesday anyway. A lot of people fancying Southampton to end up in the top 6, and you can understand why, current form-wise. 1-0 Ipswich as Davis slaps this free kick into the Swansea area. Referee's unhappy with something in there. It's a free kick at the back to Swansea as a few players ended up on the deck.
Yeah, a lot of wrestling going on there, but the ball was overhit anyway, so because we were sort of attacking the central area of the box, and the ball really ended up with pace to go to the back post, and we had nothing in that region at all.
Vigouroux with this free kick for Swansea, the Chilean international colleague of Marcelino Nunez, Lawrence Vigouroux. I mentioned there are too many Chileans playing in the Football League, but 2 of them involved in this game this afternoon. Davis with a throw to Matusiwa. Davis gives it back to Kipre. Kipre then gives it back to Davis, who then fires a pass back to Christian Walton. So far so good for Ipswich Town in terms of them trying to build on the Watford win and start this little period of free at home with a victory. Walton out to Kipre, still inside the Ipswich area. Kipre to Mehmeti. Infield from Davis to Neil. This is lovely football from Ipswich Town, really promising. Nunez to Burns. This is sensational. Town wide right outside the Swansea area. Burns in low towards Athon, deflected. Given away by Vigouroux. Has the ball gone out of play? I think it has. going to be an Ipswich Town corner kick. It is. That was lovely football.
Yeah, beautiful move. And sweeping right from front of with the goal. Come on. And Webber is down in the position. Again, I think we've done better. It's good football. We're in charge of the game. That's the main thing. We're in front and we're in charge of the game.
That was nicely played by Ipswich Town. Would have been a lovely goal. Had the ball from Burns reached Athon. Corner kick number 3 to Ipswich. Nunez on the latest one. Patton off to our right. That's blue shirts to aim at. Number 32 readies himself. And comes the away swinging delivery, headed away by Yom, out as far as Neil. Nunez wants it wide right. He controls the moving ball and tries to knock it straight back in. It's come off Nunez of Swansea. So it's a throw into Darnell Furlong. The crowd getting behind Ipswich Town. They have been pretty quiet. Trying to stoke up the atmosphere. Furlong hasn't got too long a run up on this near side. Just drying off the white ball in his blue shirt. Forward comes the Ipswich Town full-back. Long throw from Furlong towards the penalty spot off to our left. Headed away by Galbraith before it could get there. Neil wins it. So to Kabango. The ball bounces towards the centre circle. Brave header forward by Matusiwa. Kipper stretches. Can't get a hold of the ball. Vidal under pressure from Nunez. Gets Burgess on the edge of the Swansea area. Plays it off Stamanic. Now it's Timon. Infield to Vidal. It's got 3 blue shirts round about him. The ball breaks to Nunez of Swansea. And now Vigouroux inside his 6-yard area. Sweeps it out to Kabango. Can't get out of the final third. Good pressing from Ipswich Town. Swansea eventually play it to the far touchline and Galbraith. Galbraith infield away from Neil. Nice play from Galbraith. Vidal out to the left-hand side. And Nunez tries a little flick down the line through the legs of Furlong. Swansea still have it in all white on halfway with Stamanic. Going through the middle towards Yom. O'Shea's header finds Athon. Now Matusiwa to Nunez. Back to O'Shea. Town have it with Furlong on the near side. 30 minutes on the clock. Still the 1 goal so far. Anis Mehmeti after 3 minutes. Powerful finish into the net. That was excellent. Swansea pick up the ball after a mistake from Town, a little bit scrappy in midfield. Vidal has Yom running to his right hand side. Back comes Davis to intercept. Mehmeti goes in the challenge on Yalkuye. Cleared forward by Davis, won by Burgess. Davis a little nudge in the back of Yom, and then the header finds Mehmeti. Mehmeti punts it forward. Burgess will deal with it.
Yeah, they don't seem to be able to work the ball. We actually are pressing very, very well. I mean, just now we pressed and pressed and pressed. Swansea had to work extremely hard to just get out of their own sort of defensive third. They did it in the end, but we are pressing them all the way through.
Mehmeti given away. Burgess will playing the far the better football in this game. Not a good clearance from Burgess. Came off the head of Burns. Burgess then heads it away. Nunez will get on the ball for Ipswich. He finds Wes Burns. Controls with his left, passes to Furlong with his right. Burns has got it again down this right-hand side. Nunez comes back to defend against him. Gets away from him. Excellent play from Burns into the box. Gets by the byline. As he won a corner kick. Neither officials overly sure. They kind of look at each other and eventually decide, yes, corner kick number 4 to Town.
Yeah, that's typical Wes Burns. Terrific play. Got possession of the balls. Wants to go down the outside. Does it really well. Perhaps just delayed putting the ball in the box, but did really well.
Certainly not lost any of his pace in all that time out. Burns still very explosive, getting away from the left back there, or the player in the left back area. Still do that against most at this level. Talking of left backs, Leif Davis on this corner kick for Ipswich Town. He's been alternating with Nunez. What's the delivery like from the Geordie? It's deep beyond the far post. Recycled by Athon. Well saved by Vigouroux. Comes as far as Neil. His efforts blocked. Wouldn't have counted. The referee'd seen a foul on Yalkuye, who's down on his knees inside the free kick. Let's go back to Graham. 1-0 Ipswich.
Sheffield United 2 up at QPR. West Brom have got one back away at Oxford, so it's 2-1 there. At Millwall lead at Preston. Wrexham lead at Charlton. Goals in every championship game today now.
Really interesting at the bottom of the table. Charlton still not out of it. Mentioning there, Wrexham, of course, soldiering on in their bid for another promotion. Some interesting scorelines. The best one is here, 1-0 Ipswich. O'Shea going down the middle, looking for Athon. It's back with Vigouroux. Had nothing to work with so far, Athon, really, in this game.
Yeah, he's not really been involved, has he?
No, he hasn't.
Purely and simply because we're able to sort of dominate the ball, we're able to sort of pass short, and when it comes into the midfield, and then the best place to go is wide. We don't need to bounce anything off of Athon. You know, there's plenty of options all around the pitch, and you can sometimes just ignore your centre forward, you know, and just hope that he's going to be around when a final cross goes into the box.
Middlesbrough at Birmingham on Monday night, incidentally, in case you're wondering what the other team in the top two are up to this weekend. A little run without a win, Middlesbrough. It's a big game for them. Birmingham side are very strong at St Andrews. Back with Walton. Live on BBC Radio Suffolk. He's found Matthew Siwa outside the Ipswich penalty area. He gives it to Kipre. Now Nunez on the half turn. Forward to Athon. Athon up against Cabango. Holds it up. Then loses it. Poor from Athon. Needed to do better there. Here is Vidal in the centre circle. Not from him at all. O'Shea will get on the ball ahead of Nunez comfortably. He turns it back to Walton, who in turn gives it back to his captain. And then once more back with Walton as we approach the final 10 minutes of this first half. Matthew Siwa almost gives it away to Yal Kuye, trying to find Neil. It was risky. Poor from Matthew Siwa. Does have at least once in the game in a dangerous area. Nunez running forward with the ball for Ipswich Town, trying to score a second goal. Mehmeti outside the area. Mehmeti now tiptoes into the D and has a go, blocked off by Burgess. Good defending from the Australian. Town keeping up the pressure. Mehmeti to Davis on the left corner of the Swansea area. Back to Neil, who looks up and plays the ball into the Swans box, headed up by Vidal into his own area. And then it goes back off Burgess to Vigouroux.
Yeah, just run out a little bit of room, you know, so this game is all about the second goal for me. You know, it's now 35 minutes almost since we scored our opening goal and made it 1-0 in the game. That's a long period of time when you've dominated the exchanges since then. So really there's a little bit of a pressure on us really to get that second goal, preferably before half-time would be really nice, and probably would sort of end up winning the game if we were to do that.
Swansea 5th in the home table, but 21st in the away table in the Championship. That's all you need to know about where they've had their joy this season. The journalist I spoke to ahead of this, I don't see them making a run for the playoffs. Thinks it's going to be too soon, but a full summer under Vitor Matas with a bit of money spent. Next season might be a joyful one for them. Kipre, not the best of headers away, difficult one to deal with. Cullen, as Wrexham have 9 minutes to draw level at half-time. Good interception by Matthew Siwa, but it goes to Stamanic, who quickly finds Yal Kuye. Now Galbraith, who's drifted in from right back to a more orthodox midfield position. Now back out right back, Galbraith. Ball at the top looking for Yom. And comes off of him and goes to Walton. Walton quickly out to Marcelino Nunez. Matthew Siwa shouted man on from the crowd. Neil side foots it back to O'Shea on the edge of his area. Matthew Siwa behind Kipre, but no harm done. Kipre checks back and gets on the ball before carrying it away. Kipre, ball down the line, looking for Athon. Come off his marker, Cabango, and out for a throw.
Yeah, this game has had a pattern right the way sort of from the word go. You know, it's we've been in charge of it. Swansea have struggled to make any sort of inroads at all. We have had so much of the ball. We've almost created enough chances to actually take a good lead, you know, but we're not quite there yet. We've got to be a little bit more creative.
Good ball from Davis onto the centre spot pretty much for Furlong. Now wide on the right hand side, Burns. Things may be opening up for Town. Furlong's carried on, he's run into the area square into the middle from him, took a deflection which helped Vigouroux rather than Athon.
Yeah, we're close again between sort of Furlong and Burns. We're close to creating something that was really good, but in the end, Furlong was squeezed out, and it became difficult for him to get a real cross in.
7 minutes and a half to go. Swansea have the ball in midfield. Yalkuye brought down by Mehmeti. Could be a first yellow card of the afternoon for the goal scorer, and indeed it is. That's his 8th of the season, Anis Mehmeti. It's a fair old number for a player in his position, so 2 more and he misses 2 games.
A little bit unnecessary by the referee, I think. You know, I don't think this game has been really tame as far as physicality is concerned, and why does the referee put himself under pressure for something like that?
Burgess to Vidal, who turns, faces halfway, passes the ball to the left-hand side underneath Hassan Nunez, the number 18. Back he plays it to centre-half Cabango. Then Cullen's involved on halfway. Stamanic couldn't get the ball out to Nunez. 3 Premier League appearances for Brentford. Nunez, he's on the ball now, up to Vidal. Vidal, edge of the area, might have a go, tries to curl it into the far corner, but it's way wide. A second goal off to the right-hand side as we look would not have seen the ball end up in its net.
Yeah, he's got himself in a position to actually curl it into that far post, but he obviously didn't fancy it, because in the end he just put his laces through the ball, and of course, you know, it wasn't the right thing to do, and it's swerved the other way, and it's gone miles wide.
O'Shea down the line to Furlong. Furlong in field to Athon, who dropped off the front line and picked up a good position. Nice link-up play from Athon. He gives it to Mehmeti, overlapping is Davis. Inside the area, goes square, straight there to Cabango, who left-footed puts an advertising ball far side.
When you have 2 players like that, all you need to do is shout at the one and say, you take the run or I'll take the ball, and then there's no danger, but they don't seem to do it.
Davis with the ball above his head underneath the Swansea fans. A few hundred have made the long trip from west to east for this fixture. Davis still waits before taking this throw in. 5 minutes to go until half time. 1-0 Town lead thanks to this man Mehmeti. Well played Mehmeti. Davis into the area to Athon. Athon has a go. It's a lovely finish. For the second time this season, Ivan Athon scores against Swansea. And this afternoon at Portman Road, he gives Ipswich Town a 2-0 lead just before half-time.
Yeah, that's a great finish. It's a great goal, and it's exactly what the game needed and probably what the result needed as well.
A good little run of form at the moment. Athon's got a really good goal at Wrexham last weekend, and he does seem to be first choice ahead of George Hurst. He's not alternating his number 9s quite as often as he did earlier on in the season, Kieran McKenna, and it's another justified decision this afternoon. Fine finish from Athon, and yet another good finish into that net off to our right, which has been the story of this season right since the word go, really.
Yeah, the Cell standards, they've been spoiled. They really have. Everything has gone in that end, and there's been goals the other end, but they haven't had the same sort of quality that there has been at the Cell stand end. That was a really well-taken goal, it really was.
He kind of started the move in terms of dropping into midfield, getting on it and spreading out to the left-hand side. So terrific, his 4th of the season. And another goal from the Town, number 9. Haven't had too many of those all season. That's 3 games in a row. Athon, Hurst, and then Athon again. As Matusiwa gets the ball to the far side of Mehmeti. Yeah, it's been terrific, all these goals from wide left that Town have scored all season, but if you're going to be successful, it doesn't half help if you're getting goals from the number 9 area on a fairly regular basis. That's what's happened recently. Here is Neil. In a great position to have a successful winning home debut now, and Neil. Back it goes to Walton. To Kipre, lots of work, lots of thinking for Vitor Battles to do as Kipre plays the ball to the head of Furlong. Furlong nods it on, but only for time, and Matusiwa's nod gets it to Furlong. And now O'Shea, so used to playing with each other, the likes of Furlong, O'Shea and Matusiwa. Poor from Walton. Could have been a penalty given away from Dan Neil. No criticism of Neil either. It was very bad, the ball the keeper gave him. Town now turning defence into attack. Mehmeti's first touch isn't good enough. Kipre has the ball at the back. Yeah, that's the last thing we need from Ipswich Town, things like that, Mick.
Yeah, exactly.
Over the top from Matusiwa, it's going to go away from Athon to Vigouroux.
No, sometimes, you know, you can play, you can be coached to come out from the back, but there are times when it is totally and utterly unnecessary. There's no future in doing it. So I don't understand it. Just drill the ball up to Athon's feet. There'd be a nice gully, and you can hit it low, straight in the forward's feet, and I'm sure we can progress the game from there.
Particularly with just 3 minutes of the first half to go. It's been a successful first half. Ipswich Town through Mehmeti and Athon. Ipswich Town leading 2-0 on BBC Radio Suffolk. There tended to be goals when these two sides have met in recent times. 24 in the previous 6 heading into this one. Town have scored 9 goals in the last 3 meetings between the two of them. It's obviously now 11 and 2.5. Stamnich with a switch, the diagonal looking for Yom. Yom doesn't get any boot on ball whatsoever. And it will be a kick off the floor for Walton as we head into the final minute of the first 45 here at Portman Road.
Yeah, we've just got to see this half out sensibly, go in with this 2-0 sort of lead, and then, come out with basically the right attitude in the second half. And to be honest, this is a clear victory.
Yeah, a real opportunity for Ipswich Town, it has to be said. Poor pass from O'Shea, collected by his opposing centre-half, Cabango. But Town have everyone now back behind the ball, which is on the halfway line with Stamnich, who finds Galbraith. His first season from Leyton Orient, Galbraith, came through at Manchester United, and you see that in his quality. Galbraith this time doesn't have height on the ball. Furlong nods it away. Infield from Timon. Stamnich to Nunez. There is Burns. I wonder if Matos will make changes at half-time. Has the likes of Ronaldo and Vipotnik on the bench. He wants to be a bit more adventurous and have something of an attacking threat. Walton to Kipre. Kipre carries the ball out and then gives it to Davis, always available on the far side. Davis up towards Mehmeti. Mehmeti fluffs his attempted pass to Athon. Flags up. Just the 1 minute of added on time to be played. Town leading, well in charge of this game. Cabango square to Burgess. In a miserable game and a half for Burgess against his former club. Nunez down the left. Burns gets back, challenges him, knocks him off the floor. Ball comes off Furlong. Out for a throw-in to Swansea. Vidal to Burgess. Town surely taking a 2-0 lead down the tunnel. Swansea have the ball at the back with Cabango. 15 seconds of the half to go. Good ball from Burgess into midfield. Cullen out to the left-hand side. Nunez, the last chance for Swansea to potentially get a first-half goal. Be massive for them. Outside the area, Timon gives it to Yalkuye. Yalkuye shoots. Good save from Walton. Really good stop. First time he's really been involved in this game with his gloves. And it goes to Galbraith. Now Yalkuye with that effort. Galbraith. Surely that's the referee. He agrees. And Town have a 2-0 half-time lead and comfortably the better side, Mick Mills.
Yeah, very much so. The job really was half done with the start we had. To go a goal in front, so early in the game, just must have, made us feel really good about the game. Just surprised that it took us so long to get a second goal. It's purely and simply, it wasn't because we didn't sort of dominate the game. It was just couldn't quite create that clear-cut chance or two that you need. But that last few seconds shot was actually Swansea's first shot on target. They haven't had a touch inside our box, so it tells you how sort of watery they've been. They just haven't really offered anything. We have dominated the ball. We've got, lots of players that can work the ball out there. The centre half's invariably going to start everything off. They can give it to either Matazua or Neil, and both of them are nice 1, 2, 3 touch players. They can progress the game quickly and sweetly just by that quick control and pass. And then beyond that, we've got plenty of ability. Even when Lee Davis joins in, he can do things on the ball. You've got Mehmeti, you've got Nunez, you've got Burns, Athon up the front. All are capable of working the ball nicely, so, you've got simplicity at the back with their passing, quick feet in the centre of midfield, and then people beyond that can really sort of, by running the ball, can open a door or two, So, take the half-time on board, take the rest, listen to what the manager's got to say, and be ready to go again. And you have to go again. You can't say, right, we've got the reward of taking it easy. You haven't. You've got a reward of pretty much having the result in the bag, providing you adopt the right sort of philosophy in the second half. If we do, I can't see Swansea scoring a goal, and I can certainly see one or two more goals from Town.
Yeah, massive opportunity for Ipswich Town to start this run of 3 successive home games with a second successive win. They lead Swansea 2-0 at half-time.
Goals everywhere in the Championship. Earlier today, Derby came from behind to beat Blackburn 3-1. Norwich were 2-0 winners at Leicester. Hull, who come to Portman Road on Tuesday, won 1-0 away at Portsmouth. And the other 3 o'clock kick-off, Stoke have just levelled away at leaders Coventry, so it's 1-1 there. Wrexham 1-up at Charlton. Millwall 1-up at Preston. Oxford 2, West Brom 1. Sheffield United 2-0 up away at QPR. Southampton have just scored a second away at Sheffield Wednesday as well, so it's 2-0 there. Lots of goals in the Premier League. Bournemouth 1, Sunderland 1, a full-time score from the lunchtime kick-off. In the 3 o'clocks, Liverpool are 3-0 up at home to West Ham. Brentford 3-1 up away at Burnley. Burnley just got one back, and at St James's Park, Newcastle 1, Everton 2 is the half-time score. Around the grounds locally, no news of any goals in Needham Market's match away at Alvechurch. Bury Town are a goal to the good away at Stratford Town. Bromsgrove Sporting 1, AFC Sudbury 1 today as well. In the Isthmian North Division, Newmarket Town 3 up away at Stanway. We'll get news as to how Lowestoft are getting on when we return in just a moment.
Sarah Lilly.
We've been talking about when animals turn up in unexpected places.
I remember walking my dog past the football ground. She ran onto the pitch mid-game.
Were you in hot pursuit?
Yeah, I imagine me chasing after.
Oh, no.
At least you had your top on.
Wow.
Well, Linda.
Graham at Stowmarket. I was born in a small farm. One night, I heard a massive crash from downstairs, banged a light on, and there it was. It was a great big barn owl.
Sarah Lilly, weekdays 10 till 2.
Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Suffolk.
You with Matchday. Ipswich Town are 2-0 up at home to Swansea City. We'll bring you goals from Anis Mehmeti and Ivan Athon before we rejoin Brenna Woolley and Mick Mills for the second half. Around the grounds locally, I mentioned Bury Town ahead at Stratford Town. Newmarket 3 up away at Stanway. Let's check in on Gary Button at Lowestoft Town, where it's not quite half-time, Gary.
Just is now, Graham. Half-time here at the Crown Meadow. Lowestoft Town 0, Concord Rangers 1. The Trawler Boys trailing at the interval. The visitors' leading scorer, Stephen Toisson, rolling the ball into an empty goal on 28 minutes. Lowestoft had much of the better of the half, and will be disappointed to say the least that they trail at the halfway stage. Sam Aldous in the opening minutes wide for the Trawler Boys, while Aaron Bullant headed onto the roof of the net 5 minutes later from a blog free kick. Haddock, 2 shot over from Belmar, had space down the left, and Concord, despite their defending, were making the odd surge into their hosts' half, and Harrison Day's turn let in Stephen Toisson, who couldn't connect inside the area. The goal came just on the half-hour mark. Charlie Brown's long goal kick. Defender Dylan Ruffles misjudged the bounce, letting in Day to round Binney, leaving Toisson to shoot into an unguarded goal. Toisson was denied too by keeper Binney 10 minutes before the break, with Day's follow-up shot deflected for a corner. An injury, though, to Lowestoft's Ben Haddock right on half-time has seen the youngster, he's 20 years of age, stretchered off, so we've had to make a change, and Henry Pollock has come on, and then the referee blew for the half-time whistle. Lowestoft 0, Concord Rangers 1.
Thank you, Gary. Let's join Nick Garnham now as well for an all-county clash that he's watching in the Thurland and First Division North between Framlingham Town and Long Melford. Nick.
It's Framlingham Town 1, Long Melford 0. And Framlingham deservedly lead through Max Willett's 8th goal in 10 games since his return to the club. They started well and have been the dominant side throughout the opening 45 minutes, with Melford keeper Ben Moy having to dive low to his right to push away a Josh Lucraft effort as early as the 3rd minute before they took the lead just 3 minutes later. Lucraft played a lovely ball inside the fullback, for George Exworth to clip past the advancing Moy and leave Willett to supply the finishing touch from close range. Willett almost added a second in the 12th minute, Moy doing well to come off his line and block the striker's effort. The visitors almost equalised after a quarter of an hour when Charlie Glover's shot was unconvincingly turned onto the far post by goalkeeper Joe Potter, and 2 follow-up efforts were blocked by defenders. The Castleman came close again in the 36th minute when Moy came out of his area to clear a through ball which fell to Ethan Whittingstall, whose first-time effort went wide. Melford will need to improve in the second period when they will be playing with the slope if they're going to take anything from this game. Half-time at Baddingham Road, Framingham Town 1, Long Melford 0.
Thank you, Nick. Some big news earlier in the programme. After months of uncertainty for Ipswich Speedway fans, the new owners of the club have been announced today. Mayfield Sports Management has completed its takeover from Witches legend Chris Louis, who won league titles with the club as a rider in 1998 and again as a promoter only last year. Just before we came on air with Matchday, I spoke with Mayfield owner Richard Coleman. Naturally delighted that the deal has finally gone through. We'll bring you a bit of that interview again during the final half hour of today's programme from 5:30. Right now we're going to go boxing. This time last week we were looking ahead to Isaiah Hamilton Allen's professional debut at Trinity Park. The 22-year-old from Ipswich beat Conor Meanwell on points and already has his next outing in the diary. Because he's joint managed by Fabio Wardley, he was at the Wardley-Dubois press conference during the week in London. Brenner caught up with him after that and asked him how much he enjoyed last Saturday.
Oh, it was great. You know, like I keep saying, to do it in my hometown, what a better way to do it, you know. And yeah, just honestly, like I keep saying to people, like, obviously minus like all the gloves, obviously changes and stuff like that, obviously them being 10 ounces now and things like that, but because I've been there so many times at Trinity Park, it just felt like home in there. I felt so comfortable, and yeah.
Saturday morning, Saturday lunchtime, Saturday afternoon, how were you feeling at that stage? Some nerves, bit of excitement, what was it like?
So the nerves didn't really kick in until like later on, and like when I knew like, okay, cool, like I'm now about to go on. But that always happens to me, you know, it kind of then turns into a bit of fire, you know. But yeah, you know, I had a nice little nap. Had a nice little nap before, got some good fuel in me, and then, you know, as soon as I got there, I was like, game time, ready to go.
Was that a real buzz then when you arrived, and particularly when you got through the ropes, I would imagine?
Oh, massive buzz. You know, I had a great warm-up. My team, you know, I had a perfect team around me. I couldn't ask for no one better. Was having a great warm-up, had a great sweat on, had, you know, music blasting, and yeah, as soon as I got in there, I just knew it was time to show what I'm about.
So you felt at home?
Exactly that, yeah.
What about the performance?
Yeah, I couldn't, you know, obviously I checked with my coach after to make sure he was happy, because at the end of the day, they're the people, you know, I want to see if it's, you know, a great performance, because, you know, you can't always have a good performance, and it's, you know, better to look at, you need to get critiqued, you know, on things. So, you know, I checked with my coach and he was happy, he's buzzing, you know, check with Fab, he's buzzing, everyone's buzzing, and, you know, when I watch it back, you know, I'm happy with it, you know, definitely.
Were there little negatives that the coach maybe picked up on, things to work on? What kind of things, what was the feedback?
He didn't actually say too much. He just said, you know, that was a perfect debut and it couldn't have gone better. Obviously, you know, we'll look back at some things, but, you know, it's hard, you know, you want to show every single thing, do you know what I mean, on the night, but sometimes you don't need to, you know, sometimes it only takes a couple of things, and if they're going well, stay down, you know.
So did the game plan work? Did you stick to that, or did you have to work on the fly a little bit in there as well?
Game plan worked beautifully, yeah, and I couldn't ask for a better coach than my coach Rob Hodgins. You know, his IQ on the sport is absolutely insane, and yeah, just done the job.
Obviously, a first-round knockout would have been lovely, but did you like it going the distance? Did you learn a bit more from that, do you think?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the guy I was facing, he was very tough, do you know what I mean? He's had, you know, a lot of fights, so, you know, he was in there, and he was in there to, you know, to survive and, you know, take a lot of shots, but, you know, I felt like I showed I could fight on the inside, I could fight on the outside, and I boxed beautifully. And, you know, at the end of the day, sometimes, you know, you want that knockout, but, you know, if it's not going to come, there's no point in forcing it. You know, that's when you get caught, and, you know, bad things happen. So at the end of the day, if what we're doing is working, we stay to it.
Confident it was going to go your way at the end?
Oh, yeah, massively, especially throughout the rounds. I was flowing, you know, each round. This is the thing I was talking about before, like how I felt like I was always going to be better in the pros and amateurs, you know, as the rounds were going, years were coming through, and I felt fine. I was smiling in there. I felt good, flowing, and yeah, felt definitely.
Hungry for more, I'd imagine. I can tell it by looking at the smile on your face. You are, aren't you?
Honestly, like as soon as we had finished the fight, got the result, my team was like, "How do you feel?" I was like, "I'm ready to go again." I'm ready to go again. So yeah, back on March 28th, and yeah, hope to go in there and put on another great performance.
Who's that against? Where is that one?
The opponent, we're literally still deciding, but yeah, once that's all done, yeah, we'll literally go through it, game plan, same thing again, and then go in there and do the job.
That's the general plan, is it? To be out there fighting as often as you possibly can?
Yeah, definitely. I want to. This year started off nicely, like I said, everything got approved later on last year, so it's kind of nice to start fresh right at the start of the year. So yeah, we're looking to have an active year, yeah, and that's what I want.
Soaking up the atmosphere here today, and then obviously back in Fabio and his big press conference.
Yeah, it's great, for him to, invite me down, bring me along, see a lot of faces that you see on TV as well, be around this sort of environment. It's great, yeah, and can't wait to support Fabio,
Should be you one day, won't it?
Oh, hopefully so, man. Hopefully so. If I stay true to myself, and I know what I can do, and stay grinding, stay hard working, anything's possible.
Spoke very well again, didn't he? Suffolk's latest professional boxer, Isaiah Hamilton Allen, with Brenna Woolley in London during the week. Well done to Isaiah for his first professional win at Trinity Park last weekend. He'll be back for more. Back for more at Portman Road in just a moment.
Lovely spin from Neil on halfway. Gets it to the left-hand side, and Mehmeti with his orange boots on, overlapping is Davis. He's laid it on a plate for Davis. Davis with a chance to cross low into the air. He doesn't come to Nunez. Comes as far as Mehmeti! What a finish! That is some strike from Anis Mehmeti. He gets his first ever Ipswich Town goal at Portman Road, and what a fine finish! Rifled up into the top corner, and Town already lead Swansea after 2.5 minutes. Davis still waits before taking the throw. 5 minutes to go until half-time. 1-0 Town lead thanks to this man Mehmeti. Well played Mehmeti. Davis into the area to Athon. Athon has a go. It's a lovely finish! For the second time this season, Ivan Athon scores against Swansea. And this afternoon at Portman Road, he gives Ipswich Town a 2-0 lead just before half-time. Good ball from Burgess into midfield. Cullen out to the left-hand side. Nunez, the last chance for Swansea to potentially get a first-half goal. Be massive for them. Outside the area, Timon gives it to Yalkuye. Yalkuye shoots. Good save from Walton. Really good stop. First time he's really been involved in this game with his gloves. And it gets to Galbraith. Now Yalkuye with that effort. Galbraith.
Hello, I'm Angela Scanlon, and I want to tell you about a brand new podcast, The Apprentice Unfinished Business.
You're fired.
Each week, straight after Lord Sugar's famous pointy finger has done its thing, I'll be joined by the fired candidates, and there'll be special guests along for the ride.
You have somebody with a maths degree who cannot do 8 times 1.5.
We put 50p in each. It rounds up to 20 quid. No, a tenner. This is why I'll be bad on The Apprentice. Is that a tenner?
The Apprentice Unfinished Business. Watch on iPlayer, listen on BBC Sounds.
Wins this lunchtime in the Championship for Derby, Norwich and Hull in the 3 o'clock kickoffs. Wrexham 1 up at Charlton, Millwall ahead at Preston, Oxford 2, West Brom 1, Sheffield United 2 up at QPR, Southampton leads Sheffield Wednesday 2-0 at Hillsborough. Leaders Coventry pegged back at home to Stoke 1-1, and our main feature Ipswich Town 2, Swansea City 0. Let's get back to Portman Road and rejoin Mick Mills and Brenna Woolley.
No changes to the home side, just waiting to see if there's been any alterations for Swansea, which is obviously far more likely at half-time. I mean, the key man, Zan Vopotnik, is down there, but he's still got his multicoloured train and top on, so possibly no changes from Vito Matos. Walton is in between the posts off to our right, down playing from right to left in blue, white, blue. Back for a Furlong, O'Shea, Kipre and Davis. Then it's the impressive Matthew Siwa and Neil as a combination. Then it's Burns, Nunez, goal scorer Mehmeti on a yellow. Ivan Athon leads the line on a goal. He's got a goal as well. On the bench, Palmer, Hurst, Taylor, Kayuste, Clark, Greaves, Akpom, Egley, Makatiri. Strong 20-man squad, isn't it? Vigaroon all pinks off to our left in goal for Swansea. His back four, Galbraith, Kabanga, the captain, Burgess and Timon. Then Yalkuye alongside Stamanic. A 3 of Yom, Vidal and Nunes in play, playing in behind. Cullen on the bench, Fisher, Vopotnik, who I just mentioned, Key, Ronald, Ward, Walter, Franco, Fulton and Samuels Smith. Swansea in their traditional all-white kit. They get the second half underway. There is Cabango. They know they need to get the next goal in this game. Wish to mistake the absolute obvious 3-0. It's all over. 2-0 they're in with a shout up to halfway, and of course they almost got one back right on the stroke of half time, but for some good goalkeeping from a very underemployed Walton. First save he'd had to make in this game, in fact. Here is Nunez wide on the left hand side, squeezing the ball down that line to Vidal, crouching over the ball, trying to keep it away from the presence of both Burns and Furlong. It's out of play off Vidal for a throw to Darnell Furlong. Town back in action here on Tuesday night for the visit of Hull City. Match not on air from 7 till 10:30, and in a week's time Leicester City, trying to double Ipswich Town, will be here following their victory over Town just before Christmas, but in a perilous position in the bottom three at the moment. The Foxes under Gary Rowett. After that, Town have got back-to-back away games at Stoke and Sheffield Wednesday. Stoke a third consecutive midweek game, as that's a poor pass forward from Cabango. Walton gets his first touch of the second half. It's a goal kick.
Yeah, it was a terrible pass. I mean, the wide right player here, didn't really even indicate he was going to go for that type of pass. So terrible giveaway.
Kipre does his best to lose the ball to Cullen, but just because of his size, he's held on to it. To Davis. Davis carves a ball down the left-hand middle. Away from out of play.
He did as well as he could there, Leif Davis. That was really, the ball was really tight between his feet. He tries to play the ball with the outside of his left foot, sort of beyond the right back, and it was a decent ball from the position he was in, but it went out of play.
Kieran McKenna just had a word with Jens Kiyuste, one of his subs down below us. The ball is off Mehmeti for a throw to Swansea City, and of course we'll hear from Kieran McKenna on match day before 6 o'clock, and hopefully an Ipswich Town player as well. And your thoughts very welcome as well in that final hour. 0800 141 2121 or text 81333. Send us messages SFK or WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Also put SFK at the start of those. And if you'd like to be involved in Monday's Blue Hour show with me between 6 and 7, you can email me brenner@bbc.co.uk. Not a great deal happening at the moment as Leif Davis just sizes up his options for this throw-in next to Vitor Matos. He finds Athon, who made it 2-0. Play back underway. A little bit of head tennis at the back between Burgess and Stamanic. Given away by Swansea. Kipre in field. Matosiwa has to get there ahead of Vidal, and he does well in the end. The Dutchman under lots of pressure. Furlong to Burns' far side. Burns tries to get away from Timon. Timon bites back at him, wins the ball. Burns unlucky. Closes down Burgess. Burgess dinks it over the outstretched leg of Burns, and now Burgess gets it back. He controls it off the outside of his boot to Timon. Timon down the line looking for Nunez. Vidal back to Burgess. 48 on the clock. No second half goals thus far.
Making it really hard for Swansea. They're trying to come out of their own half as best they can, but the pressing is really good.
Davis battling with Yom, and again the left back gets the better of his opponent. Back to Walton. First time clearance from Walton, controlled by Burgess on the centre spot. Burgess has passed the good one up to Cullen. His layoff isn't that good. Yalkuye robs Neil. Shot from Cullen, good save by Walton. It was swinging in front of him. Another effort on target from Swansea. Only their second of the game. The keeper did well again.
Yeah, another little giveaway, and it just gives them a chance not to hit a shot from outside the box. They haven't really got in the box to do that yet, so just got to be careful.
Well done, Mehmeti. Swansea players taking an accidental smack to the face. It's Stamanic, the New Zealander, helped up by Leif Davis. Play is halted. Going to be an Ipswich Town throw below us. 50th minute. Davis shoves the ball up inside his blue shirt. Now he throws it looking for Neil. It was initially. Nunez ends up close to the ball because Neil was being thrown to the floor. Dan Neil on this free kick for Ipswich Town. Gets it back from Kipre. Plays it up towards fellow January arrival Mehmeti. Mehmeti back to Neil. Too heavy a touch from Neil. Sloppy through for Swansea.
Yeah, untidy. There was no need for that. The initial part of the move was good, nice and slick and nice and precise, and then Dan Neil runs it out of play.
Swansea throw. Galbraith to take it, just off to our left, up to Yom. Yom loses the ball under pressure from O'Shea. Mehmeti runs away with it. He's tripped by Yom quite clinically. To Ipswich Town, yet to see any moves of any real quality early on in this second half. Neil gives it back to Kipre, who goes square to O'Shea. Formidable pair, those two at the back for Ipswich. O'Shea with a switch of play. Galbraith, poor clearance from him, drops into the area to Mehmeti, back to goal, edge of the 6-yard area. Cleared away as far as Neil. The crowd wanted to shoot. He's held on to it and instead found Davis. Davis down the left channel outside the Swansea area. Neil infield to Matusiwa, trying to play the 1-2. Galbraith though breaks it up and clears to Kipre, who'll just keep it in underneath us. Cross town trying for back-to-back clean sheets at the moment. Back-to-back 2-0 wins as O'Shea gives the ball to Furlong. Furlong down that far side. Now Athon's going to go after it. Burgess gets there ahead of him, but he's been fouled by Ivan Athon. He gets a lot of sympathy from the north stand.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether he actually did foul him. I don't know. I think Burgess got in a little bit of a tangle there.
Free kick to Swansea. Vigouroux plays it, gets it back from Bangor. There are going to be changes now. Franco is coming on. Ronald and Vipotnik, a triple change for Swansea. Franco scoring against it. Players Mehmeti and Neil, but then runs into Davis. Davis had a sound game at left back. Good play from Mehmeti through a tiny little gap to Matusiwa. Neil challenged by Yalkuye. Late, but the referee says play on. Furlong with the ball far side. So it'll be more of an attacking force, Swansea, with this triple change. As Stamanic plays the ball back to Vigouroux. Vigouroux out towards Galbraith. Burgess. Here is Stamanic. Not a big surprise, there's no move down bench. Kieran McKenna happy for at least the next 10 minutes, one would have thought. Cabango. Still the substitutes wait from Swansea's perspective. Forward from Galbraith towards Yom. Leif Davis will beat him in the air. Neil touches it on, but only to Galbraith. Galbraith up towards Cullinan, steps. Kipre, good defending. I thought the flick from Mehmeti didn't reach him. Cabango steps out of defence for Swansea. Yalkuye. Finally, the three new, fresh, pristine white shirts ready to come on when there's a break in play. Burgess towards Nunez. Could be the player that makes way for Ronald. Galbraith. Well, the play in the middle third. So keeping a good shape. Closing down when needs be. Like now, Athon goes towards Stamanic. Cabango through a little hole in midfield. Finds Nunez. Now Yalkuye of Swansea. Down the right touchline to Yom. Up against backpedaling Leif Davis. Yalkuye, chance to knock the ball into the Ipswich area. Or go it alone, gets the edge of the box. Still Yalkuye. Left-footed efforts well wide. He's not going to add to his solitary Swans goal with that kind of finish.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether we should allow him to sort of run into that area like he did, but we did have a lot of blue shirts around him, and in the end he got squeezed out. So maybe we've defended it in the right way, you know, but he's got himself into half a decent position.
Yalkuye, that was the last bit of action involving him. He's replaced by Gonzalo Franco. It's going to be like for like up front, with Cullen going off and Vipotnik coming on. Vipotnik with 18 goals this season, 16 in the league, albeit 12 of those have been at home. Slovenian international, plays alongside Manchester United's Benjamin Šeško at international level. And it's Yom, the other player, who goes off to be replaced down this right-hand side by the Brazilian Ronald. Walton to take this goal kick for Ipswich Town. Still no goal since Athon put Town 2-0 up just before the break here at Portman Road. Surprisingly cold afternoon as well. Walton plays this one out short to O'Shea on the right edge of his box. He finds Furlong far side. Furlong up towards Athon. Athon tries to turn it on to Burns. In the way was Timon. Burgess into midfield. Franco to the halfway line. And Stamanic, the number 6. Swansea starting with their 15th in the table. Ipswich Town 5th. Important win for Hull at lunchtime today. Millwall also ahead up there. Neal to Mehmeti. Tripped by Franco. Free kick taken quickly by Mehmeti. Neal to the left side. Davis in a good crossing position. Gives it back to Neal though. Davis once again on the ball. There is Cedric Kipre. His ball towards Davis intercepted. Kipre wins it back, not for long. Galbraith has it for Swansea. Stamanic down the line towards Ronald. Across comes O'Shea. Important work from the captain. Had Ronald got away from him, Town were in a whole heap of bother.
Yeah, Dara O'Shea had to get that into the stand because Cedric Kipre had made a little bit of a blunder and was caught a little bit upfield. So we were a little bit sort of loose, down on numbers really. So that's the best thing to do, get it out of play.
Galbraith. I mentioned Marcelino Nunez much, if at all, really, in this second half so far. Just struck me. Here is Anas Mehmeti. Stands on the ball, gives it to Matthew Siwa. The turn goes back to Kipre. Walton in his 6-yard area. Bangs the ball left-footed towards Athon. Hasn't seen much action in the second half again, Athon. Wasn't heavily involved really in the first half, but took his goal ever so well. Waddell's gone the long way around on this near side. Too long way around because he's crossed the right line. As the changes are coming from Ipswich Town's perspective, Clark being called back and Taylor. Kieran McKenna about to have a word with both of those two. Clark, a goal scorer in South Wales earlier on this season. Kieran McKenna having a word with Jack Taylor first of all. Throw in field from Davis to Mehmeti in the centre circle, trying to roll away from his man Galbraith. Wins a free kick against the Swans right back.
Yeah, we just got to get the game going a little bit. You know, we've just sort of sat back on our heels. We've given Swansea a lot of possession just inside their own half, and really we need a little bit more of the ball.
Last time Swansea won here was just after Town's relegation to League One. That most miserable of seasons, 2018 to 19. Actually 4 of the last 5 victories have been away wins in this particular fixture, but not so this afternoon it would appear at the moment. Anyway, this would be a 10th win in 15 in the league for Ipswich Town, and 8th in the last 12 in fact. As Athon goes down holding his face, the referee's not spotted him. He's getting told to get up by Burns. Athon. Play continues. Furlong arrows his header back to Walton, and you can hear, proudly applauded by the crowd. 2 minutes shy of the hour mark on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport. Neal gets onto the ball, closed down by Stamanic. Gives it to Matthew Siwa and now Kipre. Kipre up to the halfway line and Mehmeti. Mehmeti loses out to Galbraith. Galbraith now to Franco, round the back for Vidal inside the Ipswich area. Takes a tumble. Referees say no, wagging his finger at Vidal. Here is Matthew Siwa. Walton would have saved it anyway, as we know. As Davis now has to deal with Timon. He gets it back to Furlong. Nobody really appealed for that penalty either down there, it has to be said. Takes a dive under a challenge from Stamanic. It's a free kick to Ipswich.
Yeah, I just don't like when a little bit of contact's made. You just give the referee a decision to make. You know, it's best not to touch people. You know, we're just a bit easy-osy again now. You know, just after half time, a little bit like when we what, you know, just get the pace of the thing going again.
With Jack Taylor, he's going to add his strength to Davis to Mehmeti. Davis, lots of open ground for Davis. Comes his cross to the far post, tucked away by Vigouroux. Edge of his 6-yard area. Tan get it back through Athon, wide on the right. Athon with the Furlong. Town pressing for another goal before the changes are about to be made. Swansea intercept. Matthew Siwa wins it back expertly. Great challenge. Davis looks up, 20-odd yards from goal, tries to put it just round Galbraith into the path of Neal. Swansea with one of their subs, Ronald, getting forward, in steps Kipre, out goes the ball underneath us. So Town will be able to make this double change. Player coming off is going to be Nunez, who, as I was just saying, has been very, very quiet in the second half. Hardly seen him. Messi, of course, will go to number 10. Clark will go down to the left-hand side. That's not particularly good news for Galbraith up against Jack Clark, but good news for us. And we're all expecting Neil to come off and Taylor to come on. And that is indeed the end of Dan Neil's home debut, and it's been an impressive one. You've liked Neil and Matic, haven't you, Mick?
Yeah, I think they sort of complement each other nicely, and I can see that being a partnership that might take us, through to the end of the season, really. He's a nice, little bit like Matic, sort of where they play 1, 2, maximum of 3 touches, and then move the ball on, and they stay closer together than any other partnership we've had in there as well. That's what I like.
That's been a good couple of starts so far for Dan Neil. 2-0 win on Tuesday, winning 2-0 here this afternoon, as Taylor has penalised. He can't believe it. He felt the foul was on him by Galbraith, but the referee has decided that it was the other way around. Well, still going to get more than half an hour's worth of action. 61 minutes played with Clark and Taylor just on the field. That's it for changes at the moment. Burgess looking up. It's an idea to freshen things up a bit. And of course, Clark has done ever so well. 3 goals in his last 2 league games here, Jack Clark, and 5 of his 8 league goals here have come from the bench. Down the line, Galbraith closed down by Davis, who's had a very good game at left back, leaf back in the side.
Yeah, he's been lively. I mean, it suits him, this type of game, where he can sort of think about getting forward on many occasions and as early as possible as well. That's totally and utterly what he's all about.
He used on a tier, then bring it off to my left side. Vigor clears for Swansea. 2-0 down. Ball bounce up of Kieran McKenna. Again, those numbers to have a chat to Mickey Graham afterwards on 0800 141 211. Or you can text your thoughts, 81333. Start those SFK, and also put SFK at some of your WhatsApps there to 08000 321 333. And email us Brenner at bbc.co.uk to join me on Monday nights. Blue House between 6 and 7. Davis with a throw to Athon. Good work from the Spaniard. Had 3 defenders on him. The ball along to Burns. Burns trying to take on 2 players. He can't. Nunez comes away with the ball for Swansea. Burns wins it back. Then he's been penalised by the referee, much to the frustration of the home crowd, and Wes himself shrugs his shoulders and groans a little bit. There is Stamenic. Swansea have it at centre-half with Cabango. Joined the club at 14, more than 250 appearances for Swansea. Ben Cabango, a one-club man. 6 years almost a Welsh international. Free kick Swansea for a foul on them, Vidal.
Which was by Matazua, and I think he was looking really sort of worried there, because, the referee could easily give him a yellow card for nothing, like he did the Swansea player in the first half.
Thankfully keeping his nose clean so far. Galbraith, ball over the top of Davis, that's the intention. Ronald's after it. Walton comes out, heads the ball out to the outside of his area. Good work from the goalkeeper. Saw that his mate at left back was struggling a little bit against lively Ronald. Took charge of the situation and can still have this clean sheet in their hands. Galbraith, flanked by Clark, plays the ball back to Burgess. Burgess up towards Potnick, back towards Stamenic. Stamenic feeds it through. The referee was in the way, though. That's what Potnick's having to go about. Made it very difficult for Swansea. Town had a 12th man on the field for a second.
You've just got to be careful. We're sort of going through a spell in this game like we did down at Watford, just after half-time, where the opposition have taken a little bit of control of the game. They've taken control of the football, that's for sure, and if we're not careful, they're going to create a chance that might bring them back in the game, and so we've got to really step it up and be a little bit brighter, fresher, and a little bit speedier with what we're doing.
Nice control from Nunez. Nunez over halfway, trying to get away from Furlong. Furlong wrestles into the ground. The referee says play on. Taylor, good ball up to Athon turns into Cabango and then limps away from the challenge. Athon. Cabango's on the ball, can't go very far with it. To Franco on the centre spot. Now Stamanic, George Hurst about to come on for Ivan Athon by the looks of things. Trying to score twice in as many games, the popular Yorkshireman. Burgess over the top, O'Shea is there and takes the ball on his chest before launching it forward towards Bango's battle with Athon. Burgess goes in behind, of course. Burgess for that almost iconic goal for Ipswich down at Coventry a couple of years ago, which took them to the very brink of promotion to the Premier League. Massive moment that for Town fans. Vopotnik controls the ball on halfway. Was linked with West Ham in the window of Vopotnik, but Swansea did well to hold on to him. Face further interest in the summer, no doubt, when he's come off the back of surely what will be a 20-goal season. Double change, McAteer coming on surely for Burns, one would have thought. Cabango down the line, Franco's gone after this. Kipre spins away from him, so easy for Kipre there. Taylor's the player closest to him. Taylor's on the ball. Don't let it go up behind, it would have been a corner. Taylor squeezes the ball out of a very tight little area to Matusira. Did exceptionally well, the Irish midfielder. Cleared forward by Kipre, but only to Swansea on the halfway line in the form of Cameron Burgess. Here is Burgess once again. He finds Cabango. And now on the edge of the Swansea area, Bigaroo. Oh, Franco got very lucky. We all collectively went to. He got it through the legs of Taylor when it could have gone terribly wrong. In town, we were going to outnumber Swansea there. That would have been Nunes for Swansea. Threads a little ball to the edge of the area. And the way is Kipre, dependable as ever. Mametti brings it away, the man who scored the first goal after 3 minutes, up to the halfway line. Challenged successfully by Timon. Maybe fans getting a little bit jittery. Vidal along the deck. Swansea know they're still in this game. Timon's cross comes into the Ipswich area, but straight into the palms of Walton. Good, confident hands from Town's current number one.
Yeah, well taken. The cross was a little bit too close to him, but he didn't mess around. He come and dealt with it, and that's what we need. You know, we now need to sort of take this game up the pitch a little bit and have a bit of controlled possession. 30 yards from the Swansea goalkeeper, not right back down here where we are at the moment.
Final quarter of the game is underway. Clark finds Davis with a lovely ball. Davis early into the area, doesn't quite reach Athon. Clears out whilst appealing for an offside. Burgess also looking at the man with the flag on the far side. A change then for Ipswich Town, as expected. The goal scorer, the second goal scorer, Ivan Athon, is going to be replaced by George Hurst. A warm round of applause, Ivan Athon, standing ovation, and applause back to all four sides of Portman Road. Done a good job. And Casey McAteer is indeed going to be replacing Wes Burns, so the changes that we expect. I think it's a pat on the back of his head from his manager, and off comes Burns, fit and available for Tuesday night if required. McAteer applauded on by Kipre amongst many others inside the ground. Live on BBC Radio Suffolk, 2-0 Ipswich Town lead. Davis has this throw in outside the Swansea penalty area. 69 minutes played, he gets it to Clark and gets it back. Clark down the line, a chance for him to run to the byline. In comes his low-driven cross, sent away by Cabango. Cleared fully by a colleague to O'Shea, who really puts it into that forward header. Hurst with a nod on, just away from McAteer. Timon's clearance. Furlong and Nunes both go down. It's an Ipswich Town ball far side. Furlong stayed down as well.
I thought it was a foul on Darnell Furlong.
He's up on his feet, getting ready to take this throw, and he's limping awkwardly on the far side, the former West Brom man. Kieran McCann watches on, makes a note in his pad. He'll be appearing on BBC Radio after this game. First place, you'll get reaction from the Ipswich Town after the match. Furlong with a throw into the Swansea area. The Vipotnik picks it up. The number 9 gets it out of the area, not too far to Nunes. Nunes over in that far left corner, can't clear it away from McAteer. Comes off McAteer last. To figure exactly 20 minutes to go. It's going to be another change of Walter is coming on for Swansea, a Finnish midfielder. 27.594 is the attendance. Walter was a starter in the week against Preston. Before he joined Swansea in the window. 17 goals back home in Finland for his club this season. There is Franco, finding Galbraith. Stamanic to Franco again. Galbraith to Burgess inside the centre circle.
Yeah, they're making us run around a little bit. You know, their possession is quite neat and they having to work quite hard off the ball.
Stamanic to Vidal, who finds Franco. Galbraith to Ronald. Wants to have a run at Leif Davis. So he's got back on the edge of his area eventually, Davis. Now Swansea with Galbraith. Mehmeti closes down Cabango. Ball back to Galbraith. One touch infield to Franco. Franco looks up. Ball towards Vipotnik. Headed away well by O'Shea. Nodded out of the D by Taylor. McAteer gets on it. Up against Timon. Can't go forward. McAteer then goes back to Furlong. Furlong's ball finds Cabango. Cabango's header hits Mehmeti. Taylor out to fellow sub Clark. Ipswich coming forward. Davis is on the overlap. Clark still has the ball. Comes in field. Gives it to Taylor. His first time shot was woeful. It was miles off target. Hit Cabango, who played it to Ronald. Very poor finish from Taylor. But Jack Clark might have fancied it. Ronald. That ball across field to Vipotnik. Matthew Siwa into the centre circle. Gets away from Vidal and Franco. Gives it to Clark on the left-hand side. Here we go again. Looking for a first goal of the second half. Clark, edge of the area, now inside the box. Clark, he's gone a long way, still has it. He hits, blocked away as far as McAteer had a chance to shoot. Instead he plays it in looking for Hurst. Swansea have bodies back and the ball is away. Now Furlong down the right-hand side. Caught by Nunes, was he? It's a very clumsy challenge by Nunes.
Yeah, he was very late. He caught him. It's always going to be a free kick. Decent position. Centre half's going up.
Free kick to Ipswich Town. Just maybe signs they're going for a Keller third goal. It's going to be a double change by the looks of things for Swansea. I think the experienced Joel Ward is about to come on for them. Former Portsmouth and long-time Crystal Palace player, signed on a free earlier on this season. Yeah, it is him, number 25, just putting his shirt on. Hasn't been playing that much for Swansea so far, the right back. He's getting a handshake from his manager. Gets a pass on the back. Mehmeti, who scored the first goal of the game, is now trying to create the third. Wide on the right. In comes his delivery, headed away by Vipotnik. All hands on deck for Swansea. Mehmeti to Matthew Siwa. Back to Mehmeti on the far side. Tiptoes infield, left-footed, drills the ball into the air, headed away comfortably by Burgess. Vipotnik nods it back to Timon. Timon loses out to Mehmeti. Mehmeti's done well into the middle. Hurst! And George has got 2 in 2! Mehmeti the creator, and George Hurst has finished it off and sealed a big 3 points for Ipswich Town at the start of these 3 successive home games. They're leading Swansea City by 3-0.
Well, that's a relief really, because we hadn't been playing well up to then. Then they sort of lose possession actually inside their own penalty area. Easy for the ball to go in, you know, but the finish is lovely. Finishes is just with the side of the foot, not getting too much on it, just steering it from one side of the goal into the far corner. That's a good goal, and George Hurst now is on a roll.
Good to see. Nice finish again from Hurst. And that surely is that. Back-to-back wins for Ipswich Town. Nice if they get more, but the clean sheet would be extra special now. Timon Well, it was awful from his perspective, giving the ball away like that to Mehmeti, who of course now has an assist and a goal to his name, the Albanian.
Yeah, it's amazing. All that improvement that they've shown since half-time, Swansea, and all the possession they've had, all the thought they've put into it, and then they make one mistake, punished, game over.
Ward, who's gone in at right back, plays the ball down the line to Ronaldo. Stamanic, terrible from him, and he's having a right go at himself as well. Kipre lifts it over the top of Franco. The home crowd enjoyed that. Then he finds Davis. Town beat Swansea by 3 goals in South Wales in November. They're leading by 3 goals again here this afternoon. But tougher games ahead. Well, certainly Tuesday will be tougher. And like Mick said at the start, I always thought this would be the easiest of the 3. Don't get me wrong, it's not been easy, but I just looked at the other 2 teams. I know the league table suggests Leicester might be comfortable next Saturday, but it won't be quite so straightforward. They've just got Jordan James back from injury, another week under Gary Rowett, who looks a good appointment.
Well, it also won't if we don't quite get the job done against Hull. It just makes it a little bit even more difficult. So that Hull game becomes very, very important between the 2.
Yeah, in terms of points per game, if you consider that Hull the best away side in the division, so that's going to be a real test when they come here on Tuesday night. Full match commentary of that game on BBC Radio Suffolk, and then of course next Saturday we'll be on air from 2 till 6 for Leicester's visit. Norwich sadly looked very impressive against Leicester this lunchtime in their 2-0 win at the King Power Stadium. Crossfield hit from Galbraith, who's gone into his more customary midfield position since the change. Ronaldo entered the search area. Caught in so many minds as to what to do, didn't do anything in the end, nothing positive anyway.
Yeah, he changed his mind so many times. He thought, is that a good overlap? Do I play it to the... No, it's the bad... No, that's taken. Do I put the cross in? Do I beat the goalkeeper with a chip? In the end, he did absolutely nothing, and it goes out for a goal kick.
It's Nunez who went off, incidentally. Ward to come on. Walton out to Matthew from Walton. Matthew touch has found Davis. Davis running forward, unbelievably strong running at this stage of the game from Davis. Then he goes square towards Mehmeti, but it's intercepted by Walter. Walter up to Ronaldo. Now Franco clattered into behind by Mehmeti. Davis's fitness levels are frightening to be able to go at that pace at this stage of the game.
Yeah, really great run there, but they won the free kick there. They saw Mehmeti coming in. They just put their body between him and the ball, and down he goes. But that was a good run.
Town's excellent season at Portman Road is continuing. Unbeaten in 10 league games heading into this one. Just that one defeat all season here. That 3-0 against Charlton. And it's another victory here this afternoon for them. Cabango finding Walter. Looks to the ground by McAteer. Swansea have the ball on the far side with Timon. Walter round the corner and halfway to Stamanic. Ward.
Just to show you how different this half is to the first half, Swansea have gone in front as far as possession is concerned.
Forward from Galbraith. Vidal, incidentally, was the player who went off when Walter came on. Popnik up front, the number 9, chasing a lost cause there. Yet to really get a sight of goalless Slovenia, thankfully. Davis on his chest, plays it infield towards Clark. Down the line to Hurst. Now on 8 for the season, George Hurst. Fantastic to see him back amongst the goals. Such a good character, George Hurst, who's done so much for this club as well. As now Davis then plays it back to Kipre. And then Christian Walton. Yeah, we'll get reaction from Kieran McKenna, and hopefully an Ipswich Town player on air before 6 o'clock. Furlong crossing halfway. McAteer's close to him. Just in case McAteer to score for Ipswich Town. Maybe saving it for his former club next week. Taylor to Matthew. Furlong through a little gap, finds McAteer, making a run in behind is Mehmeti, onside, wide right, outside the Swansea area. In comes his cross towards Hurst! Saved by Vigouroux. Oh, that looked like a second goal for George Hurst. It was a really good spring by Vigouroux. Matthew header reaches Joel Ward. Ward spoons it forward, but only to O'Shea.
Did everything right, George Hurst. head across where the keeper's actually there. He's come from that side, that's what you're supposed to do, but the goalkeeper did very, very well on it.
He must have thought he'd scored, Hurst, when he headed it. Absolutely spot on, he couldn't have done much more. Congratulations, I guess, to Vigaroo. Town lead 3-0, 10 minutes to go live on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport. Burgess, miserable season for him against his former club. Gives it to Cabango at the back for Swansea. Cabango again along the floor to Burgess. Up towards the halfway line. Walter takes it on his chest. In goes Taylor, robs him of the ball. Then from Furlong, it goes back to Walton. Walton out to the far side. And Darnell Furlong. Kieran McKenna will be very satisfied with his team's performance as he gets ready to bring on Jens Kiyuste. O'Shea to Hurst. He's going to afford to rest Matusio and just protect him from picking up a tired 10th yellow of the season. That's why Kiyuste coming on. Here comes Swansea, Vopotnik. Little ball in behind. Stamanic being held back by O'Shea, was he? The ball's still alive inside there. Thankfully it comes to a blue shirt and Taylor. Would have been a tap in for a white. Bodies were down, 4 or 5 of them, including Walton. But anyway, Town got away with it. And Clark has ridden the challenger, Franco. Matusiwa to the far side, and McAteer with open ground in front of him. Town fans would like to see their side score a 4th goal. Furlong. Saw a pass of a player that we can't see from here. It's out behind goal kick. Yeah. Is in a bit of pain at the moment on all fours on the halfway line, so he'll have to be sorted out before Town can finalise this 5th and final change. Let's go back to Graham.
It's been quite quiet in the Championship in the second halves, but I have to update you on the Premier League score. Brentford with 3 up away at Burnley. It's now 4-3 Burnley.
Oh, what a score! Wow. That's astonishing. Goodness me. I know Wolves are playing well at the moment, but Burnley showing shades of life at the bottom end of the table. That's crazy. Brentford having a brilliant season. Keith Andrews just signed that new long-term deal as well. Here is Walter having a go from a long way out. It's over the bar. It went left, it went right. It dipped, but not soon enough. And was happy to see that one over the top of his net.
Yeah, I was worried with that, but the way the ball was sort of moving in the air, it can sometimes deceive the goalkeeper and end up in the back of the net.
O'Shea's not required treatment. I think he signalled to the bench that he's okay and that Kiyuste doesn't have to sit down and Greaves come on. It's going to be alright, the thumbs up from the captain, so the change can be made in midfield. And as predicted, that's it for Azor Matusiwa. Sensible change from Kieran McKenna. Dutchman shakes the referee's hand as he goes off.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't protected him actually more than he has, because there's been so many times, you know, when you think, well, are we risking him being on there anymore? So, good decision. Scoreline is nice and comfortable. Take him off. Yeah,
Kiyuste replaces Matusiwa for the final 7 minutes. So Azor will be back out there come 7:45 on Tuesday. There is Walton out to Furlong. Back with Walton, left-footed, up towards halfway, and Hurst, a goal scorer. He loses out to Franco. Galbraith, short ball to Walter, back to Franco. It's all very tight in the centre of the Ipswich Town half. Now Swansea get it down the right to Ward. Ronald back to Ward, who's now 36. More than 350 appearances for Crystal Palace, part of their successful team last year in the FA Cup. Ward on the right-hand side. Back to Ronald. Good play from Taylor. Great work in midfield. Now running forward with it down the left-hand side. Hurst making a run. Taylor's had to hold on to it. He then cuts in field. Taylor still has the ball. Eventually loses it to Galbraith. It's a very strong run forward from Taylor. Couldn't do much more, really.
No, he did well to retain possession. He had 2 challenges came in, but on normal occasions that would be it. The ball would be taken off you, but he kept strong.
So it's Taylor and Kiyuste in midfield for Ipswich Town. Clark right, Clark left, McAteer right, and then Mehmeti in and around Hurst. Challenge from McAteer sees a Swansea player end up on the deck. We've played pretty much 85 minutes of this game. A few of the Swansea fans have headed off here an earlier train. It's another away day defeat for them. And all but the most optimistic of their supporters will feel that their team is going to miss out on top 6 place this season. It's a free kick to Swansea. Long way out. Time and the left back is over it. It goes square to Galbraith. Galbraith knocks the ball over the top into the Ipswich area. Chested down by O'Shea to Walton. Took a bit of a chance, the captain. Walton's on the ball after a little nudge from a Swans player.
Yeah, good play in the end. You know, if you pull that off, it's good. You know, if you don't, then it's really too risky. But he did it well.
Davis to Clark. Clark's touch back to Davis wasn't good enough. Swansea get on it. Final 4 minutes. Galbraith. Surely Town aren't going to do a Brentford and let Swansea back into this. Wide on the right-hand side. Ward by the corner flag. Kept the ball in well. He's played it back to Franco. Bango. Franco to Galbraith. Swansea edging towards the Ipswich Town area. Galbraith has a go. It's swung away from goal. The right height, just not the direction.
Yeah, he'd lost the angle to really sort of cross the ball. He'd gone in too far, so he just got to have a pop.
Walton has picked up the second ball, so ready to almost get this game resumed. 0800 141 2121 is the number. Graham and Mick. Or text 81333. Start those messages. SFK. Kipre up to Clark. Clark out to the left-hand side. Davis. Excellent play from Clark. Davis running in field, but running into Cabango. Cabango to halfway and Franco. Franco chips the ball into Galbraith. Back comes McAteer. Still bags of energy out there with the changes. When Leif Davis gets on the ball, you'd think it was 2 minutes past 3. How much spark he's got about him. Far side, the left for Swansea. Get the ball back to Stamenic. Only dead as a game now. Cabango looking for Vipotnik. The stretch from Kipre was a good one. Then he finds Clark. Clark to Hurst. Back to Clark down the left-hand side. Checking who's around about him. Clark puts in field, edge of the area. Still Clark into the D. Mehmeti to finish it. His effort blocked away by Burgess. Out for a through far side.
Every time Clark gets the ball, you always expect something to happen in that situation. He couldn't quite get a shot away himself, but at least he brings a colleague into it.
Plenty of goals with Ipswich Town at the moment. 8 last weekend, 2 on Tuesday night, 3 this afternoon. That's O'Shea gives the ball to Kipre. Yeah, they've scored in their last 11 league games now, Ipswich Town, since the 0-0 at Millwall on Boxing Day, that is. Davis goes back to Cedric Kipre. Kipre fires a long-range ball. It's a beauty to McAteer, who's gone offside. Goodness me, that's poor. Kipre's pass deserved an awful lot better than that.
He shouldn't be offside there.
No
He's
way.
looking right across the pitch. You can see every other player. There's nobody behind him. They're all in front of him. Should be able to take stock.
So disappointing, particularly if you're Cedric Kipre, to pick out that pass. It was inch perfect for McAteer, who had strayed. But Town are 3-0 ahead. That's the main thing. Kieran McKenna's thoughts to come at some point in the next hour. Figueroa with a long old run-up to this left-footed clearance. Crosses halfway and goes towards the forehead of Dara O'Shea. Hurst tries the flick on. Brought down behind him by Cabango. Then Figueroa is involved. And it goes to Franco. Franco left-footed clears. Of course, that's now 4 goals from the number 9 position in 3 games for Ipswich Town. That's a real improvement compared to the previous, numerous matches before that. Headed in field by McAteer, nodded by Burgess to halfway, brought down by Galbraith. Final minute of the 90, the ball through towards Ronald. Reaches Walton, but he would have been offside, Ronald, anyway.
Yeah, definitely straight offside.
Free kick then to Ipswich Town. Very, very keen now to hold on to this clean sheet. Walton finds Kipre next to him. Out to Davis underneath us. Davis in field to Taylor. Taylor one touch to Clark. Clark's touch is too heavy. He was going to roll away from Ward, but Galbraith was on it. 4 minutes of added on time. Out to this right-hand side. Town doubling Swansea this season. And finally getting the better of Welsh opposition in 2026. Cabango. At the back. Burgess. Forward. O'Shea just glides across the park with his header out on the far side. Throw in for Swansea. Stamenic having a shirt tugged back by McAteer. I don't know when Wrexham last finished the season as the highest placed Welsh side, but it could easily happen this time around. Still serious contenders for the top six. Wide on the left-hand side. Anis Mehmeti named man of the match. I guess for the goal and an assist, it's understandable. He's currently the one-man wall, Mehmeti. Free kick to Swansea. Hyman to take it in the second minute of added on time. Volleyed away well by McAteer. And as far as Timon. Timon to Galbraith, who started at right back, is now in midfield. Swansea down the left outside the Ipswich area. Ball goes back to Timon. Timon with the first time cross into the town box. Headed on by one of their players. Nodded away well by O'Shea. And then jabbed in by Cabango. Easily held by Walton in his 6-yard area. Clark's on his bike. He wanted Walton to give the ball quickly.
I think any other time of the game you would have possibly tried to hit Jack Clark with the ball, but it's not worth it now.
Kiyuste to McAteer. Brief involvement from man of the match Mehmeti. Nice play from Kiyuste to slide the ball to McAteer after a little drag back. Got rid of Walter. Walton, left-footed. Long kick from him. All the way, in fact, to Vigouroux, who made an excellent save from Hurst, preventing it becoming 4-0. Burgess, first time since 1959 that Swansea have lost on this ground 2 times in a row. Up to halfway. Stamenic with a little left to Galbraith. Galbraith finds Stamenic. Both sides happy for the full-time whistle to go. Swansea at the moment just passing the ball square between their 2 centre-halves. Long downfield for Swansea, headed away by Kipre. Been good at the back, those two, Kipre and O'Shea. Kiyuste to Taylor. Through the legs of Kiyuste. Swansea trying to get a consolation goal. Good block challenge from Taylor. An earlier foul has been given by the referee. Swansea have a free kick in a scoreable position.
Yeah, definitely scoreable. You know, you're only sort of probably 25 yards out. No, less than that. Where's he going to give it? Oh, there. That's definitely less than 25. You're probably talking about just over 20 yards.
Yep, very close to the edge of the Ipswich Town penalty area. Surely a last chance for Swansea to get a consolation goal. Town have already wrapped up the win, but they want the clean sheet bonus as well. Walton currently leaning against his right post, just sorting out his wall, which contains Furlong, O'Shea, Kipre and Hurst. Free kick to Swansea, maybe 21 yards from goal, left of centre. Vipotnik, who's not had a sight of goal, fancies this one for his 19th of the season in all competitions. Puffs at his chest, he's ready. The referee blows his whistle. Can Vipotnik make it 3-1 and get a goal back for Swansea? Oh, he's hit the bar! Goodness gracious me, what a shot that was! We'll have to check the bar isn't cracked. Out to the right-hand side, and Galbraith. Galbraith gets it to the legs of Davis. Davis falls over the ball. It's free kick at the back. What about that for a shot, McMills?
Yeah, the groundsman had better check the crossbar for any cracks afterwards. That was powerful, it really was. That was a wonderful free kick.
There goes the full-time whistle, and Ipswich Town back up their victory at Watford in the week with a 3-0 success over Swansea City. They've doubled the Swans this season and started this little run of home games successfully.
Yeah, that's a 7-1 aggregate, I believe, against Swansea, so that's pretty good. But we've got 3 goals, we've got clean sheet, we've got 3 points. You know, that's they can't get better than that, really. It was quite amazing that Swansea actually, you know, within sort of maybe 12-15 minutes of the final whistle, they had turned the possession around in their favour for the entire game. That was a big surprise, but we did sort of sit off quite a bit in the second half and allowed them to have that possession, you know, so they didn't really do very much with it. You know, it was but I just felt that, you know, like at any time, the third goal was handy. You know, that put away any sort of doubts about a result. I thought 2-0 was always going to be enough, but when Swansea started to have a lot of possession, you just thought, you know, one mistake and they can come back into it. But then we get the third, and that's pretty much job done. So we've won the first game of 3 at home. We've got everything from this game that we want, you know, as far as the result is concerned. And the other thing that I particularly liked in the game was Matasiwa and Neil, the partnership in there. That looked just a little bit stronger, a little bit more together, and gave us a few more options as to where we pass the ball from the centre-backs into midfield. Generally speaking, all season it's been centre-backs. Where is Matasiwa? You know, and we have to search for him, and he's buzzing about like a bee in there, and sometimes it's a bit too much really for him to be on the move all the time, just trying to get the play from the back line to the midfield. He's now actually picked up a partner who might give us a little bit more strength in there, and if Matasiwa is not available, then Neil will be, you know, and it's actually become a little bit more of a 2. We always talk about the system being 4-2-3-1, but so often it's more of a, you know, 4-1 scene from the back to the midfield. So that looked good, and that looked as if that might just take us, you know, through the remaining games a little bit tighter, a little bit better, a little bit stronger, a few more options, better passing. So that's the best thing about the game for me, is the fact that they have been able to play long enough together to tell everybody that they could be a very good partnership for the remainder of the season. Wes Burns, you know, he's getting better and better with each game. He's beginning to look more himself. You know, he's looking as if he's got his fitness back now. You know, he's bright, he's busy, he can dart down the outside. You know, he looks as if he's going to be a plus for the remainder of the season as well. So, and then there's also the scenario of the left back position as well. You know, we've had down at Watford, we've had Jacob Greaves coming in and doing a terrific job at left back down there. He sits out, in comes Leif Davis, and he's been pretty much one of our best players today.
I thought he was excellent.
Flying up and down that left-hand side, so you know that's another little plus for us. You know, we've got automatic sort of, it almost looks like Walton, Furlong, O'Shea, Hippery, Leif Davis backed up nicely by Jacob Greaves, and that's all not down. As I said, Matasiwa and Neil looking much more sound, much more together, and then what you've got beyond that is a 4-man scene from touchline to touchline of people with good ability. You know, so we're coming together nicely. For me, we're starting this exercise 3 games at home in 8 days with the perfect result.
Yeah, which leaves Town just 3 points. Second place Middlesbrough with a game in hand. Middlesbrough play Birmingham on Monday. Town, of course, back in action at home to the team just below them, Hull, who are 5th, 11 points with Ipswich Town on Tuesday. The thoughts of Kieran McKenna to come in minutes, incidentally, while Nick was talking, a lovely, long, smiley, warm chat with Cameron Burgess for a fair few minutes out there, which was lovely to see. Thankfully, though, Cameron is heading back to South Wales with a tear in his eye, because Ipswich Town are beating a Swansea side by 3 goals to 0.